Okay guys, today is a first for me. We are going to flip an antique furniture piece. It is a dresser. I got it at Goodwill. Okay, so this is a completely different style of furniture. Not mid-century modern, it's antique, which is also something that you want to look for because that means that it's old, it's well made, and it would be beautiful refinished.
Careful, that's just barely on there.
Barely on
I just
there.
gently screwed it in with the butter knife.
Thank you for the warning.
Yeah, I just don't want it falling off.
Yeah, for sure. She was going to end up probably buying it too, so that wouldn't be... Yeah.
It is. Do I just take this if I want it?
Yes. I just hand tightened it back here. There's only one screw, that's all you really need. If you want, you guys can take it, if you want to take it off before you put it in the...
Yeah.
You know, in your car.
Is it okay if we come back?
Yeah, you get 24.
They broke the mirror. But it's all good. Got it for $10. I am excited because this is new for me. I like doing new things, doing new styles. It's freezing outside. That's why I'm all bundled up. But no excuses because this baby's got to get sanded down. I got my cool little new furniture moving wheels. These are probably going to get replaced. These are gonna stay. The detail is beautiful on this piece. I'm excited. Safety first, always. We don't want to get the sand in our eyes, so I'm going to be using 2 sanders today. I'm going to be using my orbital sander starting with an 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm going to be using a detail sander also starting with 80 grit. 80 grit is just going to get all of the top off and it's going to be able to roughen it up, and then it'll be ready for priming. Now that we've got the top done, I'm going to go ahead and take the drawers out. Oh. Look what I just found in the drawer. It's the original hardware. I didn't look in the back of the drawer when I was at Goodwill. Oh my gosh, look. Perfect. I don't even have to buy new ones. Oh, that just made this so much better. Because now I don't have to get new ones, and plus now it can stay antique. Got another pull. Who knows where that's from, but I'll definitely put that in my hardware stash. You never know what you might find in a dresser that was somebody else's stuff. So I do see a bunch of dust here. So I'm definitely going to want to clean that up once I'm done sanding. Alright, so that's enough of that sander. So let's do some details with our detail sander now. Alright, so that just allowed me to get a little bit more in the corners. Again, not necessary, but a good addition if you're up for it. It's good to use a drill to make things like taking out the hardware much faster. When it becomes a flathead, you're definitely going to want to use a screwdriver because if you go too fast, you could strip the screw right off. So I'm going to go ahead and use a flathead screwdriver this time. Might take a little bit longer, but I don't want to mess up the screws. Remember to keep all your hardware together. So I'm going to put this that I just took off in with the hardware that I just found in the drawer, and that's all going to stay together. Now we're going to go ahead and take these red ones off. I'm still going to keep them because who knows, you might need some red hardware at some point. Good thing I found the ones in the drawer, because that made my day. That made this dresser wonderful. Come on. Okay. There's our 4 red hardware. I keep all the hardware just in case. You never know when you might need some. Now that we've sanded it down, taken the hardware off, taken the drawers out, I'm gonna sand the fronts of the drawers now. I'm gonna be really careful because there's some detailing that I wanna keep. All right, sanding is finished. I don't know if you can tell, but my nose is red, maybe a little sniffly. I'm freezing. I bared the cold. It's time to move inside to prime. Time to make the garage go down to make it a little bit warmer in here. So if you take a look here, it was a little tricky getting into the little ridge here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be taking a hand sander, which is just a little block, $2 at Menards. But we're just gonna go ahead and sand that down. We don't need to even get it down to the regular wood. We're just going to attempt to rough it up. There are some holes. I am going to go ahead and use some wood filler. So I'm just gonna go ahead and squeeze some right in there. Doesn't matter if there's excess because we're gonna be sanding it down to make it all flat. Okay, fill that one. It's better to have too much, that way you know it's filled, than to have not enough. I didn't notice any other holes on the whole thing. I try whenever I see dents like this that are pretty major to sand them out, but if they are super deep, then you'll need to go ahead and use some wood filler. All right, our wood filler is dry. You don't have to leave it for too long. I left it for about an hour. Ready to sand it down. So you're gonna sand down because otherwise there is a little bit of a lip. The last thing I'm going to do is use a 120 grit sandpaper just by hand real quick on the top only, and go ahead and sand it down. This is just a little bit of a smoother finish for the top. So once you're finished with the sanding and the second little smoother finish sandpaper, you can wipe off the sand either using a microfiber cloth or, like I have said in the past, a tack cloth. So the reason you want to do this is because you do not want all that dust in your paint. Now that I have sanded and cleaned all the sand up, I'm going to go ahead and give it a nice little once over with some good old-fashioned Clorox wipes. And this is why we do that. I also found a spider in there. Alright guys, we are finally ready to prime this thing. So guys, another reason that you prime things is to try to keep the color out of the wood from coming through the paint. So the primer should be a stain blocker, especially if you're working with wooden furniture. All right, and now that everything is primed, I have got to have my handy dandy fan going on over here. It's gonna go ahead and dry these guys, and then we're gonna come back. So for paint color on this beautiful antique dresser, I actually couldn't decide between white and a green color, so I chose to go ahead and put out a poll on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow Furniture Flipping Teacher so that next time I do a poll, you can also be involved. The results are in. Roll, please. All right. So I have asked you guys to take my poll on whether I should paint this dresser white or green. The results are in. This baby is gonna get painted a nice green color. And I got the garden swing paint from Chippy Barn, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my little paint can opener to pry it off. Okay, go ahead and pull that off. There's the color. It looks a little grayish, but it's actually a green color. We're gonna go ahead and slap some green on there. Oh, that is pretty. Again, with Chippy Barn paint, I'm finding that I need 1, maybe 2 coats on the lighter ones. 1 coat generally is plenty, and I'm loving it. Alrighty, got one coat of the garden swing on these, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the fan on and then let them dry, and then probably go ahead and do another coat before I put the sealer on top. Coat number 2 is coming next. Alright, second coat is on. That means I can go ahead and clean my brush. And clean. I think I'm gonna go ahead and distress just lightly though. I think just a little bit of distressing will give it just that much more character. Now that I have distressed, I'm gonna go ahead and take the top coat and put it on. Even one more time, just to get all the clumps out. Let that dry a little extra, slide the drawers in, and see what we got. Alright, this beautiful thing has been drying for a couple of days, and now that it's sunlight outside, I can go ahead, put the hardware on, put the drawers in, and get to staging so I can take some photos. Drawers are in, so we're gonna roll it over to the staging wall. So since the mirror broke before I even got it, I'm gonna use a mirror for it. Again, a lot of my staging materials, I just go in the house, find some random things. I use them over and over and over. Thrifted the other day, so nothing too crazy, just adding a little bit of spice and depth to the piece. "40 inches wide, 20 inches deep, 34 inches tall." I always make sure to post the height, size, and width and depth in the description of the listing. Alright, just got that posted. I went ahead and posted it for $160. Remember, I ended up getting it for $10 after the mirror broke. Originally it was $30. Now that I've got it posted, we just gotta wait. It has been 4 days since I posted the antique dresser. It was basically quiet for the first few days. I had few inquiries, people from out of state that didn't want to travel. Somehow they were getting it. I don't know how. I decided today to repost it, and I reposted it for $150, and then I got one hit, and they are about to come. So I'm gonna just get it ready for them, and hopefully they like it and they leave with it. You can back in if you want. Hello. You can check it out. I sold for $150. I had bought it for $10. That is a profit of $140. Just waiting a couple of 5 days, so not too bad. Super excited that that is out of here. So we will see you on the flip side. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.